Are you ready? The Kornelia Stephanie Show. Wake up to love, your call to action. Join Kornelia as she empowers others to live heaven on earth. Kornelia teaches listeners how to be the authority over yourself, embracing your inner guru. Feel yourself uplifted into limitless expansion, integrating ease and grace in a changing world. This show will cover topics such as unconditional love, your physical body, how to be in extraordinary relationships, create financial and emotional wealth, embracing entrepreneurship in the new earth. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Kornelia Stephanie Show. It's an honor and a pleasure to be with you this morning. This is Self-Realization in Our Inner Child, episode 15. Amazing conversations we've had. Nadine, welcome to the show.
Hello, it's lovely to be here with you all today.
Yes, and we have Julie and Francois. And Francois has been educating us in the last 3 episodes. We've had incredible feedback from the audience with what you've shared, Francois. So welcome back to the show. And Julie's here too, Gerland, Francois and Julie Gerland, and they are a couple.
Very much so.
Absolutely.
It's lovely to be with you, Kornelia and Nadine.
Yes, and we were laughing before we went live that everything that it's great that Francois came and that you do everything better than he does. That was a joke, and it was a beautiful. We all had a good laugh. We need good laughs right about now in this on this planet Earth. More deeper laughs, I tell you. The energy is so intense. It's intense, and the more that we can laugh, the better for us, right? While at the same time we're healing. So I want to right away give a shout out to Susan Axelrod, who is the sponsor of this particular series on the Kornelia Stephanie Show. And Susan has a beautiful YouTube channel called Live Your Confident Life. And so she also has a beautiful website, whatwillyourlegacybe.com. Go check out Susan. But honestly, if you want to see Susan, what you should do is go to Kornelia Steph Media app and look for World's Best Leading Influencer under directories. And you're going to see Susan Axelrod there. She's a major contributor to our foundation with just her amazing, the way that she shows up and the way that she leads and the way that she influences. So I love having Susan part of our team, and go check her out at whatwillyourlegacybe.com and also on her YouTube channel. So now let's carry on with our discussion from last time. So we were talking about ending the codependency cycle. That's what we were talking about, right? The inner child and codependency and how to get out of that cycle. So one of the questions that you shared with us this morning, Francois, is, and we could start there. And the question is, I seem to be sabotaging my whole life. Does this have anything to do with my inner child, and how can I change it? Right? So imagine a person asking themselves this question, the person's asking the question, and now what do you have to say about it? Now, Julie, do you want to go and answer first on this question?
Well, right for that, I'll let Francois, because I think he had something particular in mind.
Okay.
And as he put forward the suggestion.
Sure.
And then I'll bring in perhaps a complementary angle, because we work like that.
Excellent.
That's the way we do. Yes.
Good.
Well, okay. So I know it is not an easy topic. So I'm glad we started with a little bit of laughter. It is something which is a source of suffering for many, many people. And many of the people good people who really are doing their very best to help others who are just, like wanting to serve. and some of them wants to be therapists, or some of them want to do something for the community, and they have this impression that nothing ever works, which is only one thing. It's an impression. It's not always exact, but at least that's what they feel. They feel that everything is being sabotaged, and very often, and this is when it becomes very sad, they feel that the sabotaging actually comes from them, from the inside. And they wonder how they do that, and why are they doing that? What is happening? Sometimes they're even consciously doing it, but consciously not knowing actually why they are doing this kind of thing, which they know are going to just destroy their endeavor. Does this come from the inner child, or at least one aspect of the inner child? The question is yes, very, very, very often. I cannot make a generality about that, but it's very, very often the case. Now, what would it be for the most delicate, vulnerable, love-oriented part of yourself to sabotage your life and want sometimes to prevent you from having any success, want to make you disappear? I have seen people where this sabotage goes so far that they actually would like to die sometimes, or they feel something in themselves want to kill them, and they know, what's that about? Now, there are many reasons for that, and I will take two examples so that you see. It can come sometimes from long in the past. Mentioning here the possibility even of something we could have lived in past life. Don't worry if you don't believe in past life. That's no problem. That's not going to hurt you. Just take it as a theory, and that will be fine. And other people, it can even come from this lifetime, times where they have been for some reason very, very powerless. So I will start with this very one, with an example of somebody I knew and appreciated very much, actually one of my students. And she felt this sabotaging, and everyone around could feel it. I mean, she was hiding herself. She was doing anything she could just to disappear, and that nobody would notice her. As a result, her professional life was not very good. Her love life was inexistent, and so on and so on. So this kind of thing, and whenever things started to look good, boom, something would happen, and usually from her origin, and she would sabotage it. Now we went to see who is this being. That's the way we work, Let's imagine that there is someone in you, I always say imagine that someone in you, we could be the cause of this sabotaging thing. And it was actually very, very touching, because she went in the prenatal time, which I know is very dear to you, Kornelia, and very massively important for the world. That is Julie's domain. She may extend on that. In this prenatal time, her mother finds herself pregnant, but no conditions to have a child, not enough money, couple not so sure, not proper housing, everything's wrong. And this poor woman is thinking, this is horrible that I am pregnant. This is terrible. I don't want to be pregnant. And I do not want to terminate this pregnancy because, in her family, that was not something that people would do. So she's basically, I'm cornered. I'm done. Now, this child who, as you know, is conscious. Prenatal children are conscious from much earlier than when we think. Actually, very early. They sometimes remember even their conception and describe it. Just to go tell you, this little child inside this woman in suffering is saying, I have to go. I have to go. I must die. I don't want to do that to this woman I love, my mother. I must go. I must disappear. And it becomes her agenda. Talk about inner child there. She's completely there. She's completely immersed in this huge feeling. And in this feeling there, out of love for my mother, I must disappear. And then she doesn't die. She doesn't die. And she grows and grows and grows and grows. And this part of her only remembers one thing, not the reason why she should die, because that's gone. Even when she's born, That's it. She's born. So the problem is there. The only thing she remembers, I must die. I must be inexistent. I must not be there for anyone, and especially for these people around me. I just have to disappear. And it was something which was an extraordinary discovery, and I will tell you exactly what we did. We talked to this little child. We invited, in imagination, the mother, who by then, had all the money she needed, not rich, but everything she needed, loved her daughter to bits, certainly didn't want her daughter to die, that's for sure, and was very happy that his daughter was around. And this mother could just directly talk in imagination. You understand, the mother was not in the room, but we invited the mother to talk at the soul level. Then we touched the fact that it was actually out of love for her mother that she wanted to die. What about changing the strategy? What about, out of love for your mother, making sure that your mother now has a beautiful daughter who succeeds in her life, who is happy, who is blossoming, with thriving? That is what your mother wants. And of course, the mother, the inner mother, just absolutely agreed with that. And I can tell you, this person was absolutely not the same person anymore from that moment on. I mean, her love life became blossoming, her professional life, boom, she got a new job in no time, and so on and so on. And she's still alive, and we still have excellent news from her from time to time. So beautiful story, I loved it. But you see, this process of sabotaging was this child who said, for a reason that she had decided, this little baby, I have to die. Now, more complicated now. I don't know about you, Kornelia, you may be a saint in this lifetime, or at least definitely very close to that. Same for Nadine, but probably in other lifetimes, who knows what we have lived? Who knows what we have done? Have we always been these cute little people we think we are now? That's definitely not the case. I mean, I know for myself for sure. Now, what's going to happen, and let's imagine somebody, due to the circumstances, due to the lifestyle they have, due to so many reasons, but they end up doing things which are absolutely not compatible with the unconditional love and vulnerability of an inner child. Like, for example, I take people who just killed women and children and men and everybody to try and save a tomb, like the Crusaders, and we were just there, like killing people in order to save their soul. I mean, this is insane. Our days, it makes us laugh. Mm-hmm. But that was very serious. But what happened is that even in these days, the inner child would not laugh. When you kill someone, you kill yourself. A bit. You don't die on the spot, that would be too easy, but something in you closes up. Who is closing up in you? The source of love, the source of joy, the source of creativity, the inner child. And what does this inner child register in himself? This person must never be in a situation of power of any kind. That's a decision. And that gets written in the soul. And the soul will transmit that to the next lifetime and the next lifetime and the next lifetime with a message. I don't remember why, I don't know why, but this person must never been successful, because when we are successful, we kill everybody and we suffer like hell. And I don't want that. And then you have these fantastic people who are now doctors, healers, therapists, priests serving, who everything they try to do collapses, and especially every time they're starting to become successful, boom, something comes. So what do we need to do there? Well, obviously, this inner child absolutely needs to know that this will not happen again. The circumstances have changed. I am not going to go and kill Muslims to save Jesus' tomb. That is done. This is the past. This is over. So that is the first message. And this inner child inside must be absolutely assured that if we grow in life, if we have success, that will be profitable for others. I will shine, I will become successful, but I will give all the light, all the love I have. And the inner child said, oh, that is a program I like. This is my program. I know that. And so you will have this thing which was a saboteur, we call that like that, a saboteur, who is actually becoming a helper. And this helper will just be there to remind you at every single moment, where is your true power? And for that, you may need to do another work, but that would be going too far. But I just mentioned it. It's to get the crusader, in my example, to apologize to the victims. I'm so sorry for what I have done. I really apologize. I'm begging for your forgiveness. And then you need as well to obtain the forgiveness of the present self. Francois, in this lifetime, has to forgive the crusader in the past. That is the most difficult to obtain. I cannot imagine that I've been a killer. It's impossible. It's too much for me. It's not a problem. This crusader was another person. The only thing we shared was the soul, the experience. Francois is not a murderer because a crusader in the past killed people, and that many people don't understand that. The fact that you were Beethoven in a past life doesn't make you a great musician. It's not necessarily the same story. So this is where once you have obtained that, you can have your inner child, your saboteur, just becoming the opposite of a saboteur. He becomes a helper for the success of your life. That was what I wanted to tell you today.
Oh my gosh. When you were talking, I definitely am feeling the softness, and I'm definitely feeling tears and emotion, just because it's so real what you're saying. It's so real, and I love everything that you said, and how to talk to your past, and how to forgive, and how to let go, and how to change the story today, and that you can change the story today. And I know that your wife Julie does everything from the speaks to everything, educates about the prenatal. What's your angle on this that you want to share with us about what Francois just shared?
On the saboteur, what I would say is the essential component for me is that in order to do this work, whether we do it with somebody else's help or whether we do it ourselves, both are possible, is we need to feel safe first. So the inner child needs to feel safe. The body needs to feel safe. We all need to feel safe. And that's really the bottom line. So how are we going to get to feel safe is to put our inner child in the arms of our inner mother. And that's where we get the imprint, and should have the imprint, that in the arms of our mother, and we can call her the goddess mother, the great mother, but there is a mother, a real mother. And we are her children. We are her beloved children. And when we actually feel in our body, in our deep vulnerability, that we are loved unconditionally, we don't have to do anything to be loved, that all our needs are being met because our mother knows us, she's put us here, she's looking after us, and we get to deeply, deeply feel safe, then all this work becomes possible. And not only that, quite easy. And we can then change our decisions. We can change decisions that we've made in our past lives. We can change actually anything. We can change our inner programs. We become, why? Because we actually free up a huge amount of energy, and we stop living on fight and flight, which activates our reptilian brain. And we grow out of being a reptile
I hope so.
into being a real human being, and our energy becomes available for love, for connection with the infinite, for more seeing and knowing, for our intuition, and that can't really happen if we don't feel safe. So for me, this is a prerequisite to having long-lasting results out of this work. And that's something that I highly suggest, and we work with people to do, is to really help them through our program Birth the Change to get into this state inside of feeling totally safe. And I'm talking as well about our cells, because our cells have another reality than our emotional being, but it's still a reality. And I have a whole experience with that, because when I was 20, I had cancer, and I was not at all worried about dying. I just thought, well, that's it, great, I go back to the light, and so what, you know. But I realized, with the help of guides, that if I was here in a body, there was something to do in a body, and that it was now time to incarnate, to really go into my body. So I did many years of meditation and conscious connection with my cells, and bonded with them, as because they are real. They have their own consciousness. They have their own agenda, which is not the same as ours. And they can feel safe or not feel safe. And so the job, because sometimes when we feel safe, it's emotional. Feel unsafe, it's emotional, but sometimes it's physical. And we have to address both. And so we work with people to help them to reconnect to the intelligence of their cells, the consciousness of their cells, and work with the cells so that during their day, so they build this partnership of love and respect, and giving their cells what they need so they can work for us, because this is another place where we realize that we are actually unconditionally loved. Why? Because who else would work for you 24/7, 7 days a week, often, and be, you know, tortured and given food when it's thirsty and kept up all night when it wants to sleep? And I mean, we're not really very kind to ourselves as masters of our bodies and our cells. And yet our cells still do everything they possibly can to keep us healthy, despite all that. So this is the proof that we are actually loved. So once we really move into that, and we realize that our body is not only an ally, but that nature through our body is loving us unconditionally, we drop this huge amount of stress which is accumulated from the moment of our conception, that we live in a hostile world and we need to protect and fight and struggle. All this just goes. And in that state of vulnerability comes our real power. And in that power, we can change. And we can change anything and everything. But my prerequisite is feeling safe.
Yes, because everything in this incarnation, like you said, had us in an environment where we didn't feel safe, where we had to earn our love, where we had to fight and protect ourselves, not just in some of the traumatic surroundings that we found ourselves in, but also clearing our emotional body from past life. Whether, like Francois said earlier, whether you believe in past lives or not, whether you believe that the planets are influencing you or not, it's happening. It's happening. And we're here to, you know, step into our mastery and now move forward, you know, in our human mastery, the divine new humans, because your organization is about birthing the change, the new, what is it called again, Julie?
We have Birth the Change programs. But we also have a movement, a global movement called Birthing the New Humanity.
Birthing, that's what, yeah. So, and that's what we're speaking of here, is birthing the new humanity from a place of that state of being that you talked about. And that's that inner safety, that inner safety, feeling safe, because that's the starting point. Because if the being doesn't feel safe within their own body and who they are, then that's where the work has to begin. And which is why the work that you all are doing with with people all over the world. Why don't we take a moment to point people to some of your programs, or where people can find out more about the work that you're doing?
Well, at the moment, we're just about to launch an app. And the app is actually available, but it's not fully fed with content yet.
Yeah.
And that's Birthing the New Humanity.
Okay,
And
so is the app in the Play Store, in the Apple Store, and in the Play Store, right? So go to your App Store, go to your Play Store, and download Birthing the New Humanity.
That's correct.
Yes.
But please have a lot of indulgence with us, because, as we said, it's not yet full of content.
Yeah.
But it will be shortly, because we associate global experts on this topic. This has been 40 years my mission.
Yeah.
Why? Because coming back to what you said, Kornelia, what we know is that, and I talked about this in my TED Talk, is that by the time somebody's born, they have already downloaded a perception of whether they live in a hostile or a friendly environment. That's already built into them. They're already hardwired for fight and flight, because it's going to be tough, or for, wow, this is neat. Wow, look at all the great people I've got to meet, and this is a beautiful life, and people are open and going forward and changing and moving, because life is great. And the universe is a wonderful place that's meeting all my needs. How cool is this? So this is already set by the time we're born. So yes, we can change it, but why don't we allow children to come in the first place into a loving universe?
Well, that's why you're doing this work, and you're educating the parents, the women and men that are giving birth to children now, in the future, now and in the future. And we're also educating the inner children from the past as well. So this is all happening. This is all happening, and it's wonderful, the work that you're doing. I told Francois, every time when I talk to him, I just want to stop everything I'm doing and come run over to you guys and help you do the work that you're doing. He reminds me, you're already doing it, Kornelia. You're already doing it. So it's really exciting. I want to continue.
We are a global community. So we have people all over the world, and we are bringing together top experts in this field, and from India, from Africa, from the US, from South America, from everywhere. And that's what's really exciting, because it's really the first place that's bringing everybody together, multidisciplinary, multicultural, as one family, to give everything that we need, so that baby souls can come into the world in a way that we won't have to patch up after.
So yeah, this is beautiful. I'm going to thank you, Julie and Francois and Nadine, for today's discussion. I'm going to close out our show now. We're going to come back. We're going to bring Julie and Francois back. Nadine will be back. Thank you, everybody, for listening and for tuning in. Go to the App Store and download Birthing the New Humanity app. And also, while you're there, download the Kornelia Stephanie Media Group app, and have fun, because you have all the tools and resources at your fingertips to live your best life now. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We love you so much, and we'll see you next time. Take care,
Thank you so
everyone.
much for inviting us, Cornelia.
Thank you very much.
Lovely. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.